Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is one of the worst films I've seen this year. Like, not only because of the green screens, the visuals that look like they come from 2008, but also because this movie is a drag in terms of characters, story, and time. If anything, this movie feels like the epitome of what's wrong with modern movies. But is it worse than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull? Let's get into this shit show. The movie begins with a flashback at the end of World War II, where the Germans are stealing relics for Hitler himself. Very much in character with this universe's Hitler, who became obsessed with historical relics. When, oh no, Indy is captured with this weird CGI face. Now, I have to believe that most of the budget went into this opening. Why? Because we get a de-aged Indiana Jones. It has a fair amount of CGI in the action scenes, so I must assume that's why a lot of the budget has been inflated to 300 million or so. Anyway, he is about to be executed as a bomb breaks through the roof of the castle, but instead of blowing up on impact like most bombs do, this one is on a delay.
You serious?
And then he heads off to promptly steal the opening MacGuffin. I think it's the spear that pierced Jesus Christ. Meanwhile, his sidekick, Basil, gets kidnapped and is on the train as Mads Mikkelsen shows off the Dial of Destiny made by Archimedes. Then Indy gets on board and steals the dial with Basil by his side. The opening, while very CG heavy, is very much in the spirit of the original movies. However, while it is great as a little short film, we still have another 2 hours to get through.
Jesus.
Flash forward to 1969, the day of the moon landing, as Indiana Jones is retiring, drinking constantly, and about to be divorced from Marion. What the fuck? Are you seriously telling me that after such a happy ending with all the previous movies, our hero is now a washed up deadbeat? I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. I knew it. We then get introduced to Basil's daughter. I can't remember her name, so I'll just call her Fleabag, since she made that show and all. So, she shows up to the classroom knowing all the answers to all of Indy's questions, and she's really smug about it. Really? Well, at least she can't get any more worse. Anyway, Indy takes her to get the dial, as they are pursued by Mads Mikkelsen's character from the opening and his henchmen. What? Hold on. Mads Mikkelsen's character? In the opening, he gets hit at like full speed on a train by this object. His brain should be splattered. But no, he has this little scar. Just a little scar. Wow. They both get separated as Indy escapes for his life, as the goons try to catch him. After losing them, Indy is found by Sala and helps him get to the airport to Tangier, since he is now wanted for murder. Fleabag is selling the dial. Yeah, she's not a good person, who knew? Indy and Fleabag meet up in a casino in Tangier, while she is still trying to sell it to a lot of criminals. Then Hannibal Lecter shows up and tries to take it back. There's a chase in Tangier involving one of Fleabag's exes who's a criminal, and there's a sidekick kid who shows up who's short round but so much worse, and they try to pursue Hannibal to get back the dial. While this chase scene is fine, it has a fair amount of CG moments that really distracts you from a lot of the practical moments. This action sequence in Tangier and the one where Indiana Jones is escaping Mads Mikkelsen's character and his henchmen, they have distracting CGI and it really pulls you out of the action sequence. And that's a shame because there is a lot of practical elements in these chase sequences. However, you just don't get that feeling of adrenaline because you're distracted by the CG, and it's a bit a shame because some of these scenes would be standout if they were all done practically, but because Harrison Ford is getting up there in age, it's a lot more convenient to use CG, so it's very much a shame. I should also mention, at multiple moments, Fleabag betrays Indy and then gloats about how awesome she is and why we should like her even though she has done nothing to earn it.
And then I stole it. It's called capitalism.
Truly a wonderful character. Hannibal heads off to get the clue to the second half of the dial, as Indy, Fleabag, and Not Short Round heads off to Greece to get the same clue. They meet up with one of Indy's old friends and they go to the location where they found the first half of the dial. On the boat, Fleabag asks what he would do with the power of the dial. He says that he would get his son to stop enlisting because Mutt's dead. Yup, they killed him off. Now, a lot of people will say, what's the problem? People hated that character. And I will contest that, yes, he was a weak character. But, despite it, I find it both lazy and stupid to kill off a character without showing it. And this is the reason Marion and Indy are getting a divorce. And honestly, I prefer Mutt Williams than both Fleabag and Not Short Round. They get the clue to the tablet as they head off to Sicily, because that's where Archimedes is buried, and a part of the device was hidden in the tablet. Hannibal pursues them as he captures Not Short Round. Who would have seen this coming? And they both head off to the resting place of Archimedes. They head into the caves and find the tomb, but then the Germans show up and they take all the parts and assemble the dial to go back to Poland 1939 to kill Hitler, to take over Hitler's role to win the war against the Allies.
What?
Sure. Long story short, Indy gets shot and is captured as Fleabag and Not Short Round are following the Germans, and for some reason Hannibal decided to keep his uniform from World War II, and he made all his henchmen wear World War II uniforms, have World War II weapons, and have a mint condition World War II bomber. And they even took the time to paint the German cross on it. Okay, sure, let's go with that. Fleabag and Not Short Round are in pursuit of Indy as the Germans are following the coordinates. However, it turns out Hannibal miscalculated and it takes them back to ancient Rome. I guess where the Romans and the Greeks are fighting one another. I don't know, you'll have to inform me on history, but like, it's really stupid. And I swear to God, by this point I was so checked out, so I couldn't really care less. So the plane is shot by a bunch of javelins, and Indy jumps out of the plane with Fleabag, but the Germans crash and burn. Such a boring death for an Indy villain. Archimedes shows up and hands him the dial, and then Indy goes out of character and says that he wants to die, and while stuck in history. What the fuck? This is not Indiana Jones. The man has never given up. The man who is always resilient And you can tell that this is just textbook LucasArts now. Making an iconic character turn into an old, sad shell of a man. Great. Then to keep piling on the disrespect, Fleabag punches him and then somehow brings him back home? How the fuck did she get him back home? Like, seriously, you're telling me she dragged his body to not Short Round's plane? She isn't really Abby from The Last of Us, is she? Christ, this review is really taking it out of me. I am so done, but whatever. He wakes up. Fleabag tells him he's going to be fine when Marion shows up, and then they rekindle their romance when Indiana Jones is still wanted for murder. I guess the next sequel is called Indiana Jones: The Fugitive. And that's it. That's the movie. What's a piece of shit. I don't think I have seen a movie so shit, so disrespectful, so painfully dull. First off, the runtime is too fucking long. Too goddamn long. 2.5 hours? Fuck off. Second, the CGI. Jesus Christ, it's bad. Say what you will about The Flash, but it had ambition in scope. Unlike this film, where it tries to blend CG and practical, but it fails so miserably. Third, the characters. Indiana Jones is a withered old man. Same like Han from The Force Awakens, who's a deadbeat dad, and same as Luke Skywalker.
Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker.
Fleabag is an unlikable, insufferable character who makes Mott Williams look like a subtle character. Hell, Fleabag makes Willie Scott a more three-dimensional character than her. She is smug, annoying, obnoxious, and she is supposed to be our second lead? Really? Not Short Round sucks. He's pathetic. And then there's the saving grace of Mads Mikkelsen. My god, that dude brought it. He made every scene a standout, and I loved it when he's playing an uber German. Fourth, the fan service. This movie has a lot of pointless fan service, and it freaking shows. Mentioning moments from Temple of Doom, Marion's photo, a lot, and Salah and Marion showing up as glorified cameos. Like, I'm sorry, this is the epitome of member berries. At least Picard had a story reason for it. And finally, the fact that this is the last Indiana Jones movie breaks my heart. Like, even though I will treat it as a trilogy, and Kingdom of Crystal Skull, while I don't think it's that bad, it is definitely nowhere near as, like, great as the original trilogy. But in terms of a series, this is a sad way to end the franchise, and it breaks my heart. This is it for the character, and fuck me, they really destroyed this character and franchise to a point I don't think the franchise will ever come back unless they do a hard reboot, and that Indiana Jones video game by Bethesda is really good. This movie is the embodiment of modern movies, and it really sucks. It really sucks. I went in with an open mind, but no, this movie just had to ruin everything. Say what you will about Kingdom, but in that movie, Ford is very active, he is very capable of action sequences, and the movie did treat Indiana Jones with respect. Was it a good movie? No, it had flaws, but it is somewhat enjoyable. To be fair, I have a lot of nostalgia for that movie, and it might be blinding me, but I still think it is miles better than this piece of shit. This movie it's a terrible film. Is it the worst Indiana Jones movie? Yeah. Indiana Jones is a trilogy. It has now come completed with 2 competent coasters. That while one is not as good, but still leagues better than this piece of shit of a coaster, Dial of Destiny.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
This movie is beyond redeemable. For all the good there is in a giant turd, it's still a giant turd. Like, the opening is it's entertaining. It's basically the Indiana Jones movie you always wanted. Like, after the trilogy. But because it's too expensive, we have to get old Indiana Jones and be shown up by Fleabag. And it's not fun to watch. I didn't get the sense that they were godfather and goddaughter. I felt no connection between them. It just sucked. This movie is just... It really broke my heart. This gets 50 beers out of 10. Do not watch it. Just put it on in the background, mute it, and then just get drunk with your buddies. Because it's not worth it. An absolute crapshoot of a film. I never want to see this movie again. I'll watch the opening, maybe on clips on YouTube, but that's it. Indiana Jones was never meant to be a franchise. History made it into one. Anyway, sorry to leave this review on a down note, but Indiana Jones has always been a part of my childhood. I was able to watch this with a couple of friends, and while I have a soft spot for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I had hope for this film because it was helmed by an incredible director. We have Indiana Jones back, Harrison Ford back in the saddle, but in the end, it got turned into any other Lucas film IP. I didn't have fun with it, and it really breaks my heart. Anyway, take care and have a good one.